Well, good morning. My name is Josiah Presley. I'm 18 years old. I'm originally from South Korea, but I was adopted at the age of 1 and brought over to the United States where I've lived the rest of my life. And I am an abortion survivor. Well, I'd just like to start off by just thanking you all for having me here. It's a great privilege to be here and speaking to you today. I would also like to just personally thank Dr. Owen. He's the one who originally saw the video that I did called Listen to the Beat, and he's the one who originally contacted me about coming here and speaking. I'd also just like to give a shout out real quick to Ryan O'Neill. He's the guy who organized this video. He's the guy who contacted me about it, and he did most of the work for it, and he did an awesome job. And then finally, I just like to thank the Lord, for saving my life all these years ago, and then bringing me to where He has today, and opening the doors He has to give me the opportunity to share my story. So, in the year 2008, when I turned 13, my adopted parents, they set me down to have a hard discussion. They told me a little more concerning my adoption and the background behind it. They told me about how my birth parents, 2 months into my mother's pregnancy, due to financial difficulties, she decided to have a curettage abortion. In case you didn't know, a curettage abortion, it's a type of abortion where the doctor goes into the mother's womb and pulls apart the baby limb from limb, bringing them out in pieces. They thought the abortion had been successful, but a few months later, my birth mom realized, it had failed. I was still alive, thank God. And so at this point, she decided to carry me to term. And so I was born on October 7th, 1995. I had a deformed arm. Whether or not that was a direct effect of the abortion, we're not sure. But, considering the type of abortion it was, that's a very probable reason. We also wonder, if I had a twin with me in the womb. The type of, just considering the type of abortion it was, why else would the doctor have stopped unless they had maybe pulled out one baby that had been aborted, not realizing there was a twin, me, also there, thinking the procedure was over. So that's another thing that, I wonder about with that. Anyways, I was born. I was placed with the Eastern Social Welfare Society, which is a foster home ministry in South Korea that partners with a international adoption agency in the States. So I was placed with them, and then when I was 13 months, like I said, I was brought to Norman, Oklahoma, United States, to live with my adopted family, and that's where I've grown up. Though this abortion did fail, the events they've dramatically changed my life, my outlook to life, and has given me just a true appreciation of how fragile life really is. This event has given me more admiration for my parents, and just thankfulness to the Lord for what He's done and how He saved my life. To be honest, though, when I was first told of my birth parents' solution to the revelation of my conception, it hurt very deeply. I don't know if I've been told anything that hurt more. It just struck to my very inner being, just knowing that if things had gone the way my parents had planned, I would not be here today, never given a chance at life. This hurt, it built up an immense malice and hatred towards my parents for what they had done. Up to that point, I had wanted to meet them one day. At this point, I didn't want to have anything to do with them. I didn't want to see them. I didn't care at all. So it built up hatred for them. I suffered from depression because of it. Just thinking, I would think to myself at times, my own birth parents didn't want me to the point of trying to kill me. And so I struggled with depression and just other things surrounding that. Eventually, though, once I was able to get past this self-pity, it really showed me God's hand in my life. Psalms 139:13-16 says, "For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them." I realized how much God loved me, but I also realized, that not only am I important to God, not only does God care about and love me, but every baby is important to God. Every baby is cared about by God. Every baby is loved by God from the moment of conception. I also realized how much my parents loved me. They willingly adopted me in spite of my physical disabilities. Once I was able to get outside of myself, I saw how much love had really been poured out in my life. It made me a better pro-life witness. The list just continues of how I found that the positive effects of the situation really did outweigh the negative ones. I saw the gospel in a way I'd never seen it before. I saw it in a personal way. I saw how my adoption was a picture of how God adopts us into his family. Because of the events of my past and the understanding of what the Lord has done for me, I've been able to move forward in ways to further his kingdom, to be a voice for the voiceless, to stand up for truth. Proverbs 31:8-9 says, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy." That's who these unborn babies are. They can't speak for themselves. They're destitute, and we are commanded in this scripture to speak up for them. We're commanded to stand up for them. And I'm very encouraged to see all you here today and to see that you are doing that. Through my involvement in the pro-life movement, I've had many conversations with pro-choice people. And I found that many times they're always talking about the woman's right to abortion, her body, her rights. But my response to that always is, what about the rights of the unborn babies? What about the rights of the millions of little women killed each year by abortion? Or the millions of little men killed each year by abortion? What about their rights? There's very little debate today whether or not life starts at conception. With today's technology, it's been proven that it does, At conception, from the moment of conception, that is a new life inside the mother's womb. It's not a question of whether or not the unborn is human, that's ridiculous, Dogs have dogs, cats have cats, humans have humans, right? But it's a question of whether or not we give value to these lives and recognize their rights. These are precious babies in the womb who are human beings just like us. The most important word in human rights is human. Now, though my biological mother, what she chose to do does still haunt me, and I do speak out against abortion, I don't do it without a solution. I was adopted into a loving family, and I have a photo. Can we pull that up? Okay. I have a photo of my family somewhere. Right there. There we go. I actually have 11 siblings, 9 of which are adopted. In this photo, are just the 9 adopted siblings because my 2 older brothers who weren't adopted, they were, at the time this photo was taken, they were grown, out of the house, married, starting their own families. But this is a picture of my parents and all my siblings who were adopted. Just a little bit about them. Over here, kind of in the middle on the right side, sitting next to me to my left, that's my oldest sister, Eliana. My parents adopted her from Haiti when she was 11. Then down here in the corner, the Caucasian with brown hair, she's my second oldest sister. Her name's Mariah, and my parents actually came to adopt her due to a crisis pregnancy situation her mother was in. Then down here on the corner, also from South Korea, is my third oldest sister, Elise. My parents adopted her from an orphanage. And then at the top there, the 3 at the very top, they are Shoshana, Shylin, and Darius, who my parents, they're a sibling group my parents adopted from Oklahoma. And then down here in the middle, right under me with the glasses, that is Mia, who my parents adopted from Oklahoma. And then right in front of Elise, the little boy, he's Christopher, who's actually Eliana's half-brother that my parents adopted from an orphanage in Haiti. And then down here at the very bottom, in between me and Mariah with the really poofy hair, that's Kinzia. She's my youngest sister, who my parents adopted from a crisis pregnancy outreach center in a city a couple hours away from where we live. And I shared this photo with you and about my family to tell you 2 things. First off, for all my siblings, for their birth parents, abortion would have been the convenient and easy thing to do. But if they hadn't chosen life, my family wouldn't be what it is today. The second thing I want to share is that, there are families out there willing and wanting to adopt the least of these. I was saved from an untimely death, but not only was I saved from that death, but I was placed in a home where I was loved and cared for and told about the love of Christ. My admiration, my love for my parents has grown over the years as I've seen their day in and day out sacrifice for me and my siblings. And so as I speak out, against abortion, I speak out declaring a solution. I speak out with the knowledge and experience of there being a better answer than abortion for women finding themselves in a situation where they cannot care for the babies that they have conceived. Throughout the years, this event has followed me of how my untimely doom was thwarted by God. It was not to the last couple of years, though, that I've really seen how fortunate I was. I've come to a place of forgiveness for my birth parents. I've come to a place where I'd like to meet them one day. I wonder if they ever think about me. I would like to meet them and tell them why I've forgiven them. This event in my life has affected me so greatly because if it had worked, if the abortion had worked, I would not be here today, never given a chance at life. I did let this affect me negatively at first, but as I've grown older and I've seen how much love has been poured out in my life, this has definitely been the most character-building experience I've ever been through, the most enlightening and spiritual journey through which I've walked. And I'm just thankful to the Lord and to my parents for what they've done for me. And in conclusion, I'd just like to encourage each and every one of you here today to continue to stand up against abortion, to fight the good fight. Abortion is the destruction of beautiful, innocent human beings who are important, who do have value, and who are loved. Thank you for your time.
You can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Well, you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am.
Isn't he absolutely so inspiring? That was just amazing. Josiah Presley, absolutely amazing.